Have you ever noticed how a woman can admire you, flirt with you, desire you? Yet the moment you start caring just a little more, she suddenly becomes distant. It feels almost unfair, doesn't it? One moment she's laughing at your jokes, texting you first, leaning in closer when you speak. And the next, she becomes cold, distracted, hard to read, like a completely different person. Why does this happen? Why does a woman pull away from the man who tries the hardest, but chase the man who doesn't give her the same energy? Why is the man who shows genuine intention ignored, while the man who seems half-interested becomes the one she can't stop thinking about? And why, after telling you she wants honesty, loyalty, consistency, does she fall for the man who doesn't need her attention to breathe? This confusion isn't random. It isn't chaos. It isn't contradiction. It is instinct. A quiet psychological instinct built into human behavior. One most men never understand, because women rarely admit it. Women say they want love, but they fall for respect. They ask for effort, but chase emotional sovereignty. They want reassurance, but desire a man who doesn't seek it from them. And here's the truth that changes everything. A woman's heart follows the man she cannot easily influence, not the man she can emotionally control, not the man whose world bends the moment she pulls away. This is the part women never say out loud, the part they keep hidden beneath polite words and romantic ideals. Because the moment a man understands it, he becomes someone she cannot manipulate, cannot test, and cannot shake emotionally. And that scares them more than they admit. So today, I'm pulling back the curtain. Today I'm going to reveal the real reason women pull away when you care more. Why they chase the man who isn't dependent on their attention. And why the modern dating world often punishes the good guy and rewards the emotionally grounded one. Not through cliches, not through guesswork, but through 7 psychological truths women don't want men to know. Truths that will change the way you love, date, and carry yourself as a man permanently. This isn't about tricks. This isn't about manipulation. This is about becoming the version of yourself that naturally commands respect, attraction, and peace. So take a breath, clear your mind, and let's begin. Point 1. Women lose attraction the moment you lose your center. A woman can sense instantly when a man starts revolving his entire life around her. At first she's flattered. Then she becomes uncomfortable. Then she becomes distant. Why? Because a woman's attraction is tied to your emotional independence, not your compliments, not your effort, not your obsession. If your mood rises and falls with her responses, if your happiness is tied to her attention, if your peace disappears the moment she pulls back, she knows she controls you, and when she controls you, she loses respect for you. Men in London, New York, Sydney, everywhere, make this same mistake. They think giving a woman everything earns love, but giving away your center is the fastest way to kill attraction. A woman wants a man who chooses her, not a man who collapses without her. Point 2. Women test you because they're scanning for weakness. Most men misunderstand female tests. They think she's being dramatic, confusing, inconsistent, or even cruel. But in reality, a woman's test isn't an attack. It's a revelation. It's her way of asking the universe a simple question. Is this man someone I can trust with my heart? Or will he collapse the moment feelings get real? When a woman pulls away, when she becomes distant, when she replies slower than usual, when her tone suddenly shifts from warm to cold, she's not always losing interest. More often, she's observing your internal stability. Because here's the truth most men never learn. Women don't test your strength. They test your emotional fragility. To her, your reaction tells her everything about your character. A woman wants to know, will you panic the moment she steps back? Will you start overthinking, spiraling, doubting yourself? Will you chase her like a man desperate for validation? Will you beg for reassurance, drowning her in insecurity? Will you turn into a completely different version of yourself just because she shifted her tone? Or will you remain calm, steady, unmoved, focused on your mission, your path, your life? Because here's something men learn too late. A woman's test is never about the test itself. It's about who you become in the face of it. Let me give you an example. Something you've probably experienced. Imagine she suddenly texts less. You notice it. Your chest tightens, your mind races, your insecurities shout for attention. But instead of responding with strength, you react with fear. Is everything okay? Did I do something wrong? You're acting different. You never take this long to reply. In your mind, you think you're being honest. But in her mind, she sees something else. Dependence, fear, emotional instability, and nothing extinguishes attraction faster than a man who lets a woman's mood dictate his entire inner world. On the other hand, a man grounded in himself behaves differently. When she pulls away, he doesn't panic. He doesn't interrogate her. He doesn't send paragraphs. He doesn't start imagining worst-case scenarios. He simply continues being who he is. Maybe he focuses on the gym. Maybe he works on his goals. Maybe he spends time with friends. Maybe he stays productive and centered. But what matters most is this. Her pullback doesn't shake his identity. Women find this energy irresistible, not because you're ignoring her, but because you're not controlled by her. Women respect men who regulate their emotions, not men who collapse when tension rises. And make no mistake, women will test, consciously or unconsciously, until they know exactly who you are, under pressure. Because for her, it's not a game, it's protection. In her mind, she's thinking, if this man loses himself over a delayed text, how will he handle real life? Stress? Conflict? Responsibility? Family? Finances? The future? She's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to see whether you can handle the world and whether you can handle her. Because a woman's emotional world is intense. It's fluid. It changes. It swirls like a storm. She doesn't want to be with a man who gets swept away by that storm. She wants a man who can walk through it with steady footsteps. A man who is calm even when she's chaotic. A man who doesn't react impulsively. A man who stays rooted when she becomes emotional. A man whose identity is stronger than his feelings. A man who can weather her emotional storms becomes unforgettable. Women don't always trust words. They trust behavior. They trust consistency. They trust a man's reactions. Anyone can be charming when things are easy, but when things get hard, that is where real masculinity shows itself. A test doesn't break a strong man, it reveals him. And this is why women test. Not to punish you, not to confuse you, not to play games, but to answer one question: is this man emotionally dependable, or is he fragile beneath the surface? If you break easily, she loses trust in you. If you stay centered, she feels safe with you. Because ultimately, a woman is not looking for a man who matches her emotions. She's looking for a man who can contain them, and the man who can do that earns a level of love, respect, and devotion that weak men never experience. Point 3. Women desire men who already have a life before them. In Toronto, there was a man named Daniel. He met a woman named Sarah, and she liked him instantly. Not because he was trying to impress her, but because he had something most men don't. A self-created world that didn't revolve around her. His work ethic. His hobbies. His training. His goals. His discipline. When Sarah tested him with distance, Daniel didn't panic. He didn't chase. He didn't rearrange his whole life. He kept moving forward. And that is what pulled Sarah closer. Women don't want a man who makes them his whole life. They want a man whose life is already full, and she's simply allowed to join it. Point 4. Women are attracted to mystery, not predictability. Predictable men get friend-zoned. Unpredictable men get remembered. Not toxic unpredictability, but the kind that comes from a man who has dimension. A man who has depth. A man who has layers she can't decode. Women fall for the man who doesn't reveal everything at once, doesn't overshare, doesn't seek approval, doesn't need constant reassurance, doesn't emotionally depend on her validation. Mystery isn't about playing games. It's about having an identity she cannot fully figure out. Men who say everything, confess everything, reveal everything, and expose their entire emotional world too soon. Lose their power. Keep your mission larger than your emotion. Keep your silence sharper than your desire. Keep your presence more powerful than your words. Mystery is masculine. Predictability kills excitement. Point 5. Women don't want a man who worships them. They want a man they can respect. Women never fall in love with men who pedestalize them. They don't want to be worshipped. They want to be valued, but within boundaries. Here's the truth. A woman respects a man she cannot break, a man she cannot manipulate, a man who doesn't lose his dignity trying to win her. When a man abandons his standards for a woman, she loses trust in him. When a man stands on his values no matter what, she becomes drawn to him. Respect love. Respect comes first. Respect creates attraction. Respect determines desire. A woman may like many men, but she only stays with the man she respects. Point 6. Women are drawn to men with emotional control. One of the strongest masculine traits is calmness, not coldness, not detachment, not emotional suppression, calmness. A man who can feel emotions without being ruled by them. A man who doesn't explode, doesn't panic, doesn't beg, doesn't react impulsively. This is why a stoic man is magnetic. His presence is steady. His mind is clear. His decisions are rational. His emotions serve him, not sabotage him. When Emily was dating Michael in New York, she adored him, until she realized he needed her attention to feel secure. Every time she pulled away, he panicked. Every time she got distant, he chased harder. Every time she went silent, he broke inside. His lack of emotional control suffocated her attraction. Women don't expect you to be unbreakable. They expect you to be in command of yourself. A man who controls himself controls the relationship. Point 7. Women fear losing the man who can walk away. Here is the most powerful truth of all. A woman values the man she could lose, not the man she's guaranteed to keep, not the man who is always available, not the man who will never leave, not the man who will tolerate anything. A man who can walk away is dangerous, because he is free. Women subconsciously know this. A man who is not afraid to lose her is the man she works hardest to keep. This doesn't mean being cold or heartless. It means being rooted in self-respect. It means understanding. I want you, but I don't need you. I care for you, but I don't depend on you. I choose you, but I choose myself first. This is the energy that makes a woman feel both safe and challenged, both comforted and attracted, both connected and captivated. Because the moment she feels you can walk away, she starts walking toward you. Point 8. Women are attracted to purpose more than passion. There's a hard truth most men never learn. Women don't fall for the man who is full of passion. They fall for the man who is full of purpose. Passion is fire. It burns bright. It feels exciting. It's intoxicating. But passion alone fades. Purpose does not. Purpose is direction. Purpose is discipline. Purpose is a man's internal compass, the force that tells him where he is going and why he is going there. And here's the part men underestimate. Purpose creates confidence. The real masculine confidence women feel in their bones, not the confidence that comes from compliments, approval, attention, or validation, but the confidence born from becoming a man who knows exactly who he is. Women don't want a man who wakes up wondering how to keep her. Women want a man who wakes up knowing what he must build today and with or without her. Let me give you a story. In New York, there was a guy named James. He met a woman named Olivia. Beautiful, smart, charming, the kind of woman who could get attention everywhere she went. James liked her. She liked him. But what made her fall for him wasn't his good looks, his sense of humor, or even his charm. It was that James lived a life that moved forward, whether she was in it or not. At 6 a.m., he was at the gym. At 8 a.m., he was working on his business idea. He didn't waste his days scrolling. He didn't sit around waiting for replies. He didn't orbit around her mood, her attention, or her affection. He had a mission, so when Olivia pulled away, not maliciously, but because she wanted to see something, James didn't panic. He didn't chase. He didn't turn into a boy begging for reassurance. He kept moving, not out of arrogance, not out of coldness, but because he simply had somewhere he needed to be. That was the moment she felt real attraction. Not the surface-level spark most men create, but the deep instinctual feminine respect only a purposeful man can trigger. Because here's a truth every man must understand. Women test your passion, but they submit to your purpose. Passion says, I like you. Purpose says, I'm becoming someone. And women are drawn irresistibly onto men who are becoming. Purpose gives your life momentum, and momentum is masculine. When your mission is strong, you don't chase because your time is valuable. You don't cling because your identity isn't tied to her approval. You don't fear losing her because you trust your path more than you fear being alone. Your purpose becomes the anchor that holds you steady when emotions try to drag you into weakness. A man without purpose reacts. A man with purpose responds. A man without purpose gets anxious when she pulls away. A man with purpose becomes more focused. A man without purpose tries to prove his worth to her. A man with purpose proves it to himself, and she feels it. Women aren't attracted to busy men. They're attracted to men with direction, men who are going somewhere. Purpose changes everything about you. Your posture becomes firmer. Your voice becomes steadier. Your energy becomes grounded. Your decisions become sharper. Your boundaries become clearer. Your presence becomes stronger. A purposeful man doesn't try to impress. He inspires. He doesn't chase admiration. Admiration finds him. Women feel safe with him, not because he wraps his arms around them, but because his life has structure, meaning, and stability. A man with purpose is rare in this generation. That's why he's so attractive. Because most men are distracted. Most men are lost. Most men are chasing things outside themselves. Chasing women, chasing approval, chasing attention, chasing entertainment, chasing comfort. But a purposeful man chases only one thing, becoming the strongest version of himself. And that energy, that direction, that discipline, it pulls women toward you without effort. Not because you're trying to win them, but because you've already won yourself. A man with purpose is magnetic. A man with purpose is unforgettable. A man with purpose is the man women feel in their soul. Long after the relationship ends, long after the messages stop, long after life moves on. Be that man. Be the man whose life doesn't get shaken by emotions. Be the man whose mission is too powerful to pause for anyone. Be the man who moves with clarity, intention, and self-respect. Because when you become a man of purpose, you don't chase attraction. You create it. Conclusion: the truth women don't want men to know. So here's the real secret women never say. They don't want a perfect man. They don't want a rich man. They don't want a handsome man. They want a centered man. A man with self-respect. A man with direction. A man with emotional discipline. A man who is whole with or without her. Once you embody these truths, women stop becoming a mystery and start becoming drawn to you naturally. Not because you chase them, but because you've become the kind of man who doesn't need to chase anyone. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.